Keynote 1 expanded 800 words. Priming transforms your emotional state before the world influences it. And most people don't realize how much of their life is being driven not by intention, but by leftover emotions from the day before. When you open your eyes in the morning, your brain doesn't automatically choose empowerment, clarity, or strength. It defaults to whatever pattern you lived yesterday unless you interrupt it. Priming is that interruption. It's the intentional act of grabbing the steering wheel of your nervous system before stress, noise, notifications, expectations, and the demands of other people grab it for you. The moment you wake up, there is a window where your mind is the most malleable, the most receptive, the most programmable. Priming uses that window to condition your emotions, your thoughts, and your physiology into alignment with who you choose to be, not who you accidentally become. When you deliberately choose your emotional state at the beginning of the day, you are not just improving your mood. You are shifting your biochemistry. You are activating different hormones, different neurotransmitters, and different patterns of focus. You are telling your brain what to look for, what to filter, what to prioritize. Most people run on autopilot and don't even realize that they are starting their day in a reactive mode. They grab their phone, check messages, scroll through notifications, and immediately allow the outside world to dictate their inner world. Priming prevents that hijack. It gives you ownership of your internal environment before you step into the external one. When you prime your emotional state, you're training your nervous system to operate at the peak level you desire, not the level that your circumstances try to push you into. Your body learns from repetition, and your emotional patterns do too. If you wake up daily and condition gratitude, empowerment, certainty, and clarity, you train your body to default to those emotions. If you wake up and allow fear, stress, or distraction to guide your day, you condition those emotions as your baseline. Priming is the conscious choice to train your baseline into something extraordinary. This is why priming is not just a motivational practice. It is a neurological one. Your brain is constantly forming associations, and the emotions you experience in the first moments of the day set the tone for everything you interpret afterward. If you start the day feeling overwhelmed, small obstacles feel massive. If you start the day feeling strong, those same obstacles feel manageable or even irrelevant. The world doesn't change, your state does. And when your state changes, your perception changes. Priming calibrates your perception toward power instead of weakness. Priming also connects you to your purpose before distractions pull you away from it. When you take time to breathe intentionally, to feel gratitude, to visualize energy flowing through your body and into your life, you are reconnecting to the deepest part of yourself. The part that remembers your why. Most people forget their why by lunchtime because they didn't anchor themselves in the morning. Priming anchors you. It brings your identity into the forefront so you don't drift into old patterns throughout the day. It keeps you conscious instead of automatic. It keeps you intentional instead of reactive. It keeps you aligned instead of fragmented. When you prime, you're not only conditioning emotional strength, you're conditioning mental clarity. You're deciding what matters most and giving your brain a target. Without priming, your mind wanders. It gets hijacked by urgency instead of guided by importance. You end up reacting to everything and accomplishing nothing meaningful. Priming forces you to decide your focus before life decides it for you. It creates direction in your mind so your thoughts don't scatter. Your energy doesn't dilute, and your decisions don't weaken. It builds discipline by reinforcing alignment with your highest values first thing in the morning. But priming is also physical. State is not just mental, it's biochemical. Breath, posture, energy, and movement shape the way your brain fires. When you breathe deeply, when you fill your body with oxygen, when you shift your posture into strength instead of collapse, you are telling your body to operate in a higher gear. Most people walk around in low energy physiology because they never take control of their body in the morning. You cannot live an extraordinary life in a low state. Priming shifts your body into high performance, which then shifts your emotions and then shifts your thoughts. Physiology is the fastest path to changing your state, and priming uses it intentionally. It teaches your body the language of certainty, power, and emotional intensity so you can bring those qualities into the rest of your day. Priming transforms your emotional state because it breaks the loop of unconscious living. It stops the repetitive cycle of waking up, reacting, surviving, and repeating. It replaces it with the cycle of waking up, aligning, choosing, and creating. It gives you the power to step into your day as a creator instead of a reactor. It prepares your mind and body to meet challenges not with fear, but with resourcefulness, not with hesitation, but with courage, not with stress, but with clarity. Priming is the daily investment that pays back in mental strength, emotional stability, and the ability to create your life instead of living by default. Gratitude is the fastest way to eliminate fear and shift your biochemistry, and the reason is simple. Your brain cannot hold two competing emotional states at the same time. You cannot be deeply, genuinely grateful and simultaneously be fearful, anxious, angry, or stressed. Your nervous system isn't wired for it. Gratitude interrupts the fear loop. It quiets the survival instinct that constantly scans for threats and awakens the part of your mind that looks for possibilities. Most people wake up and immediately step into stress, worrying about deadlines, problems, bills, unfinished tasks, or things that haven't even happened yet. Their body floods with cortisol before they even get out of bed. Gratitude breaks that cycle instantly. It pulls you out of fear-driven thinking and reconnects you to the truth that you already have something to stand on, something worth honoring, something worth building. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel good, it fundamentally shifts the chemicals in your body. When you focus on what you're grateful for, especially when you feel it emotionally, not just think it intellectually, you activate serotonin and dopamine. These chemicals boost your mood, sharpen your focus, and raise your resilience. Your brain becomes more flexible, more creative, more open to solutions. Fear narrows your world. Gratitude expands it. Fear makes you think in limitations. Gratitude makes you think in possibilities. And when you condition gratitude daily, you strengthen that emotional muscle so it becomes your default response instead of fear. The power of gratitude is amplified when you don't just list things you're grateful for, but relive them. Your nervous system doesn't differentiate between a real moment and a vividly remembered one. When you feel gratitude for a memory, your body experiences the same emotional intensity as if it were happening now. This is why gratitude is a tool for transformation. It conditions your emotional baseline into a higher state. You start the day remembering who you are, what you've overcome, what you already possess, and what you're capable of. Gratitude creates emotional momentum. It softens your heart, strengthens your spirit, and gives you the courage to face whatever the day brings. Most people think they need something big to feel grateful for, but gratitude is not about size, it's about presence. You can be grateful for breath, for warmth, for a moment of stillness, for someone who loves you, for something you learned, for a challenge that made you stronger. Gratitude is not about ignoring problems, it's about widening your lens so your problems don't consume you. When you start your morning with gratitude, you create a buffer against negativity. The things that would normally upset you lose their power. You gain emotional armor that doesn't make you numb, it makes you grounded. Gratitude also shifts your identity. You begin to see yourself not as someone lacking, but as someone blessed, someone capable, someone supported. Fear thrives in scarcity. Gratitude thrives in abundance. When you feel abundant emotionally, you act differently. You speak differently. You make decisions from certainty instead of desperation. You become more generous, more patient, more confident. Gratitude doesn't just change your mood. It changes the way you show up in the world. And the practice of gratitude becomes even more powerful when you condition it daily. It's not enough to feel grateful once in a while. You must wire it into your nervous system through repetition. The more often you practice it, the easier it becomes to access it. Gratitude becomes your emotional home. When challenges appear, and they always will, you return to that emotional home instead of collapsing into fear. Gratitude gives you stability in uncertain times because it reminds you of your foundation. No matter how chaotic life becomes, there is always something to honor, something to appreciate, something to hold on to. Gratitude is also a form of strength. It takes courage to acknowledge the good when your mind wants to focus on the bad. It takes discipline to direct your attention toward empowerment instead of worry. It takes intention to choose gratitude when stress tries to dominate your thoughts. But that courage, that discipline, that intention rewires your emotional patterns. Gratitude doesn't happen by accident, it happens by practice. And when practiced consistently, it becomes one of the greatest emotional tools you will ever have. This is why gratitude is part of priming. It prepares your emotional foundation for the day. It ensures you start not from fear, but from fullness. Not from survival, but from possibility. Gratitude is a reminder that no matter what you face, there is always something within you that is stronger than anything outside you.